So like we gonna try this shit again. So like we gonna try this shit again.
Making the beat.
What's up, hip hop world? I'd like to welcome you down to Making the Beat. Today we are at 45 King Studios, the home of the 45 King. And in the studio with me today, I got my longtime friend, my man from around my way, the star maker, Mr. Bob Sumner. What's up, Bob?
What's good, V? How you doing, man?
Hey, I called you the star maker. So that's what I've heard in the streets, the star maker. Do you feel the star maker is an adequate title for your representation?
Well, I mean, it's cool with me. I mean, with us being from Union County, New Jersey, we've always been around stars, including, my uncle who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Tony Williams from the Platters. So, it's all good to be another star maker,
That's a beautiful thing, man. Well, Bob, we're going to let the world know who you are, man. We're going to get into it. I know you got a lot to talk about, and we're going to try to get it in. Well, I know we ain't going to be able to get everything in, but we're going to get it all in the way we supposed to get it in.
Let's rock and soul, baby.
All right, man. So, many people that don't know, and for those that don't know, Bob Sumner is one of the executives behind the Def Comedy Jam, a venue, a vessel for comedians to get to stardom, man. And so many people and so many names have come through Def Comedy Jam. We're going to get into some of them, but we couldn't possibly get into all of them today. But, we want to get into the man, Bob Sumner. So, where did you go to school at, man? Where did you grow up at? Tell the world where you grew up at.
Well, it's been a journey. I was actually born same place you was born, brother. Elizabeth General Hospital in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and my family is basically, my mom's from Elizabeth, my dad's from Roselle, and St. George Avenue is where it really happened. Between Linden and Roselle, I was basically raised. Check it out. I was raised in a barbershop next to a bar. Remember the VT out in Linden?
Yes, sir.
And then I was also raised in a laundromat next to a bar, and that was the E&S. Some people know it as the Omega Lounge back in Roselle. So I was always around folks who was just, I was learning a lot,
Yeah, you learned a lot in the streets. So Where did you go to college? Did you go to college?
Yeah, well, it's like I always tell people that I'm so proud of my degree from St. George's Avenue, but also I'm very proud of my Seton Hall University degree also, man. That's where I matriculated there after attending Abraham Clark High School in Roselle. So it's been a nice little ride. And then it was off to Def Jam University, Rush University, and you know how it was on Elizabeth Street with cold chillin' and everything, like one big happy family. And it's really a trip that we went from Union County to downtown, New York, and hey, look at us now, huh?
Hey, we're here, man. So how did you meet Russell Simmons?
The whole Russell Simmons of it all is really deep, because as I was like trying to figure out what color was my parachute, okay? Meaning, after Seton Hall, it was like, what are you gonna do? And a lot of people knew me as a DJ at Seton Hall, Friday Night Jam, Mellow Madness, Eminem Man, all that stuff. But I was always about jazz and comedy, because I had always come up in that realm. And as that was happening, I started promoting jazz and comedy in spots in Elizabeth and Newark. One spot being the Uptown Cafe, where I had a jazz show over on East Grand Street in Elizabeth. And then I also had a show going on at a spot on Frelinghuysen Avenue in Newark. Place was called Terminal D. Yeah. And over there, I was doing jazz and I was doing comedy. But then I got a phone call from a young lady who was working with the late, great Gregory Hines. And her cousin was managing an artist that was signed to Columbia by the name of Monty Croft. He was a great vibraphonist, as well as, he played a lot of different instruments. So I didn't have any slots open in any of my clubs. So someone had called me about doing a show upstate New York. There was a show with Lonnie Liston Smith, and I felt like I could possibly get Monty on this show. And on that show also was one of my comedians, okay? And once he had performed, the young lady Carmen Ashurst, that was her name, she was talking to the comedian about, really liking his act and stuff, and she took out a card and it said Def Jam Records. I didn't even know she worked at Def Jam, but she was operations director. So now I'm thinking about, how can I get this comedian some work, and it was like, it was just one of those things where the move was, can I get this comedian on some of those Def Jam tours? Okay? And it was like they had the Fresh Fest tour and all this stuff. So when I spoke to the lady, she said that she had gotten a promotion. Okay? She is now president of the company, and I'm looking for an assistant. Do you know anyone? And I was like, do I know anyone? I mean, I was looking for a real job with benefits. And I took the job at Def Jam, and that comedian who I'm talking about was Bill Bellamy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
The story behind the story.
Yeah.
Man. So, hey, all right.
So let me just say, so that first day when I came to the job, I'm getting on the elevator and I'm all dressed because I was used to wearing suits and schoolboys and stuff, having that Lee Morgan look or whatever the case may be, that jazz look. So when I came over to the office to meet with Carmen, who's getting off the elevator but Russell Simmons? I mean, it really tripped me out, right? And I'm looking and I was kind of like, wow, this is Blair Underwood from Crush Groove, the real Russell, and the rest was history, man.
So, and that's a beautiful backstory. But I know it was another big spot in Jersey that used to have all the comedians. The Peppermint Lounge. What was that?
Well, the Peppermint, as I'm listening to this groove from, this is like Ted Mills. I'm just thinking about Blue Magic right now and how, oh man, this is hot. The Peppermint. They used to perform there, or everybody used to perform at the Peppermint. And when I was at Seton Hall, I used to do a lot of things with the radio station over at the Peppermint. But prior to the Peppermint, like I said, there was Terminal D and there was Club 88. So, when we talk about the Peppermint, it was like the Mecca. We had that conversation about how guys get paid to do walkthroughs at parties and stuff. At the Peppermint, you was liable to see, it might have been any New York Knick, any New Jersey Net, any Giant, any Jet, the Wayans brothers. It was like the place to be.
Okay, so if you were in LA, what is the equivalent of the Peppermint Lounge in LA?
The equivalent to the Peppermint Lounge in LA now? Anytime?
So people can understand what it was if they haven't came to the East Coast to experience that.
Well, if you go back to like the early days of comedy, okay, even how Def Comedy Jam was built, some of that had to do with my man Michael Williams in the world famous Comedy Act Theater. You had the Comedy Act Theater in LA, and you also had the Comedy Act Theater in Atlanta. It was really, really bumping, and all of the Lakers and all those guys used to frequent down in the 43rd and Crenshaw. You know what I mean? So I would say that was probably the closest thing on the comedy tip. And then you had on the entertainment tip, you had like R&B Live. Like they do R&B Live now. But I remember when I went to R&B Live with Russell and Leo and those guys and Stan Lathan and them, it used to be at the Century Club. And honestly, I saw a Prince, okay? I saw a Prince the night before he showed his ass on the MTV Awards. You remember that? Prince was there, Shaka Khan was there. So when I would say it was a combination of R&B Live in the Comedy Act Theater was the Peppermint Lounge. Yep.
All right.
Right?
So, yeah. No,
hey,
we're going to start because you can edit it.
It's all right if I groove, right? I mean, can I groove?
Yeah.
What did Prince do? let me tell you something. Prince rocked out for one I mean, I was like mesmerized on what was going on. But then, like I said, it was like his dress rehearsal for his performance on the MTV Awards. And you know, that night on the MTV Awards, you know, he had the chaps with the cheeks. So he didn't have those on the night before, by the way. It was crazy. It was so dope.
While we remembering Prince,
Uh-huh.
the craziest show I saw Prince at was at Jack the Rapper, and he gave a show at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I think it was called like Grits and Gravy. They served breakfast or sausage and eggs or something.
Down in Atlanta?
Yeah, in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And people were in line at 5 a.m., 4:30 a.m. just to get into the show. Some men dressed like Prince. That's how much of an influence he had on the music industry, man.
Hey, let me tell you something. Prince loved comedy, bro. I'm gonna give you two anecdotes here. All right, whatever you want to call them with Prince, you know. I got a phone call because I was producing a show at Caroline's on Broadway on Tuesday nights. This is before Hot 97 and everybody. Charles Oakley and I started with the All-Star Weekend there, and we just kept it going with a comedy show. And one night I received a phone call from the management at Caroline's. Prince had heard about our show and he wanted to come through, but he didn't want anyone to know he was there. Bruh, when I got to the show, Prince was already there. He was sitting in the back. We had the curtains closed a little bit. It was crazy, bruh. And he stayed there and watched our entire show, man. And he was just so cool and down to earth, right?
Yeah, great.
Can I count it off? Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4.